Find the derivative of y equals 5 sine x minus the square root of x, then evaluate y prime of pi. So y here is made up of two terms combined together by subtraction, 5 sine x minus the square root of x. Before I take the derivative, I'm going to need to rewrite that square root of x as a fractional exponent. 5 sine x I can leave alone, minus x to the first power and then square root. X to the first power and then square root. 1 over the root 2 per square root. X to the 1/2. We can now take the derivative, y prime, which can also be called dy dx here, will equal to 5 times the derivative of sine, which is cosine, so 5 cosine of x. And then the second term is going to follow the power rule, so we'll bring the 1/2 down, multiply with the negative, negative 1/2, x to the power of 1/2 minus 1 or minus 2 over 2, so that we can combine those over that common denominator. That will give us 5 cosine of x minus 1/2 x to the 1 minus 2 negative 1/2. Now, since I have an x raised to a negative exponent, I'm going to move it to the other position. Right now it's in the numerator. I'm going to move it to the denominator. So I have 5 cosine x. I'm not going to do anything with that term. Minus 1 over, I'm going to move x to the negative 1/2 to the denominator with the 2, and I can then call it a positive 1/2 power. Now one more step that we can write. Since x to the 1/2 means the square root of x to the first power, or just the square root of x, we can actually write it that way. And there's our y prime, 5 cosine of x minus 1 over 2 square root of x. The next step is to evaluate y prime of pi. Y prime of pi means to plug a pi in for each of the x's. So we will have 5 cosine of pi minus 1 over 2 square root of pi. The cosine of pi is a negative 1. And 5 times a negative 1 will be a negative 5. So we will have negative 5 minus 1 over 2 square root of pi.